Jonathan has already been gone for several hours, and Mina is resting in my office. It is a pity that, because of the urgency of the situation, I have not been able to bring Jonathan up to date with all my work. I have a feeling that the noose is tightening around us, and... But what? My God! It's Dracula!
Leave your guard where you found him. He's of no use to you now. Seize him!
Don't go near her. Get away.
Get him out of my sight. Now, my dear, it appears that our destinies have crossed once again. Let me just relieve you of that wedding ring, which you won't be needing any longer. Now wake up. This time, I promise you, we shall never part again.
Notes on the patient Hopkins. Height 1 m 65, weight 55 kilograms, estimated age between 40 and 45. Date of internment 20th October 1904. The patient Hopkins seems to have been afflicted by a very rare carnivorous pathology, which takes the form of ingesting flies and other insects and other forms of disturbed behavior. What is particularly interesting is that after a series of conversations with him, I became deeply convinced that the man's mind was controlled by Dracula. And then, though Hopkins seemed so cold and calculating that it was possible to believe that he was feigning his illness, he met Mina and was radically transformed. From then on, he has spoken hesitantly and seems far less sure of himself. He has become vulnerable. If Hopkins has doubts, that could be to our advantage. From today onwards, Mina must be present during my sessions with him.
God be praised. I am now protected against the vampires.
On the eve of the new century, I found an ancient 15th century book of magic in a bookshop in the Portobello Road, which radically changed my life. It tells of vampires and satanic rites, but for once it is not a work of fiction. The cover is decorated with a ring in old leather in the form of a dragon curled around a stone. I managed to translate the little that remains of the book, which tells of the building of a remarkable sanctuary by a monk named Thaddeus. Alas, now I am old and sick, and although I am firmly convinced that it exists, I shall never find this sanctuary. I have therefore made a summary in this notebook of the information contained in these pages, plucked from time. Finish my quest, if you can, and reveal to the world this incomparable archaeological treasure. On the eve... The story, as recounted at the beginning of the book, which is intact, begins in a country which would appear to be present-day Transylvania. It tells of the rivalry between Vlad Tepes, also known as Dracula, and his half-brother, Radu, both princes and heirs to the kingdom. When their father, Dracula, died, the symbol of power, a ring in the form of a dragon with a precious stone in the centre, was handed over to Radu, the younger brother, allegedly on the advice of a magician named Dorco. Wild with rage, Dracula pursued Radu and shut him up in his huge underground prison. He also banished Dorco, but the main thing he did was to separate the stone from the dragon ring, which then fell under Dracula's evil influence. According to the book, no one knew what became of the stone. The last sanctuary is the one Vlad Tepes, also known as Dracula, built when he took power after the death of his father. He entrusted the building of the edifice to the monk Thaddeus, nicknamed the Black Monk because of his satanic propensities. But shortly after the sanctuary was finished, the monk disappeared. The author of the book seems to have been an exiled disciple of Thaddeus. He recounts that the latter had designed 3 barriers in the form of initiation rooms, with the aim of eliminating all claimants unworthy of entering the last sanctuary. Unfortunately, the book has deteriorated too much to be able to read the passages concerning 2 out of the 3 rooms. However, it appears that the 3rd room is by far the most mysterious and terrifying. The book refers on several occasions to strange keys, but no information is given as to their use. The Devil's Nails is the literal translation of the phrase in the book, but it would seem closer to the truth to render it Satan's claws. I have made a copy of the drawing in the book. It shows Jacob's dream, as recounted in the book of Genesis. Jacob's ladder represents the link between God and men, but in the sanctuary it appears rather to be a link with Satan. The symbols surrounding it are Sanskrit numbers. The instructions in the text are clear. It is a trap designed to tear to pieces anyone who dares to go there. The Hellfire Room, which I prefer to call the Dragon Room, as it shows fire shooting out of the mouths of numerous dragons, here a highly sophisticated system is involved, which leaves little chance for the person manipulating it.